In this lecture, we will learn about the basics of widgets we can work with in tkinter. We are going to build on the code we wrote a few lectures back. A label allows us to display some text in the tkinter window. For example, let's create a variable named text and set it equal to tkinter.label. Inside of the parentheses, we will set the text for the label to the string hello world. Then we need to call text.pack. Anytime we work with widgets, we want to pack them, which is how they get assembled in the window before displaying them. If we don't call pack here, our label widget will not show up in the window. When we run the code, notice the text hello world in the window. Another useful widget that tkinter gives us access to is the button widget, which we can use to add a button to our project. For this example, let's create a variable named button and set it equal to tkinter.button with the text set to click me. Then we need to remember to pack the button. When we run the code, notice that a button is displayed and that we can click it. Our button is a bit boring right now, so let's assign it a color. We can set the color for a button by passing in bg and setting it equal to a string with the name of a color. For example, let's give our button a background color of blue. When we run the code, notice that our button appears in the window, and this time it is the color blue. One potential issue as of now is the readability of the text on the button. Right now, black text on a blue button is not that visible. We can change the text color by passing in FG, which stands for foreground, and assigning it the name of a color as a string. For example, we will give our text a color of white. When we run the code, notice that we now have a blue button with white text. Another useful, basic widget is the check button widget. If you've ever filled out a form on the internet and been asked to check a checkbox to affirm that you read something and agree to the terms, you are familiar with check buttons. For this example, we will create a variable named checkButton, set equal to tkinter.checkButton with the text "Don't show this again." Then we will call checkButton.pack. When we run the code, notice that there is a checkbox that we can click to check and click again to uncheck. A list box allows us to provide a user with a list of options they can choose from. Let's start off by creating a variable named listbox and setting it equal to tkinter.listbox with active style set to .box. Then we will insert option 1 at index 0, option 2 at index 1, and option 3 at index 2. When we use the insert method, we provide the index and then the option. After that, we will call listbox.pack. When we run the code, notice that we are presented with the 3 options that we added to our list box, and that we can select one of them by clicking it. Also notice that we can only select one choice at a time out of the available options, which is by design. To show text, we can use the message widget. The message widget is more flexible than the label widget because you can display the title in different fonts with the message widget, whereas the label widget is limited to one font. For this example, we will create a variable named message and set it equal to tkinter.message and pass in the text hello. Then we will call message.pack. When we run the code, you will notice that the message hello appears in our tkinter window. The radio button widget allows us to select one option out of several. For this example, we will have a variable named v set equal to tkinter.intvar. Then we will have a variable named rb1 set equal to tkinter.radiobutton and pass in text equals option 1 as the first argument, variable equals v as the second argument, and value equals 1 as the third argument. We will also have a variable named rb2 set equal to tkinter.radiobutton with the text option 2, variable equal to v, and value equal to 2. Then we will have a third variable named rb3, which we will set equal to tkinter.radiobutton with text equals option 3 as the first argument, variable equals v as the second argument, and value equals 3 as the third argument. Then we will call pack on rb1, rb2, and rb3. When we run the code, notice that our 3 radio buttons are displayed and we can click on the dots to select the option that we want to choose. To add a slider to our GUI, we can use tkinter's scale widget. For this example, we will create a variable named scale and set it equal to tkinter.scale and pass in from equals 0, 2 equals 10, and set the orient to tkinter.horizontal. Then we will call scale.pack. When we run the code, you will notice that we have a horizontal slider. We can click and drag the handle of the slider to assign it a value between 0 and 10. That is an overview of the basics of working with widgets in tkinter. In the next lecture, we will build a calculator app hands-on using tkinter.